Greetings and salutations. You're listening to Mama Ruth's Ancestral Musings. This is a podcast about all things Blackness, and I try to throw in an ancestral point of view. I hope you're doing well amidst this pandemic, this viral outbreak, this coronavirus that's going around. That's the name of the virus. But if you're sick with it, you will then be characterized as somebody having the COVID-19 disease. Okay, there was a little bit of a debate about that on social media not long ago, but that in fact is how things are being characterized, okay? Lots of bullshit and conspiracy theories are, running amok on our social media these days. And I just have to say, that's dangerous right now. Okay, any other time of the year, any other time, I could give a shit about your conspiracy theories. But right now is not the time to be out here acting like this is a hoax. The government created this bullshit to do population control. The government is doing this just to institute martial law. Nah, motherfucker. Y'all motherfucking asses that are going out here saying that bullshit and you're walking around in public like this ain't real, you motherfuckers are why there's going to be martial law, okay? Because you don't listen, because you're stupid, you're willfully ignorant, and you don't take anything seriously. You're always out here trying to be contrary to every motherfucking thing. There are people out here, y'all, that fucking, get hard or get wet as contrarians. It doesn't matter if they truly believe in the things that are coming out of their mouths or out of their fucking typing fingers. It's just whatever the majority is saying, they feel like they getting motherfucking paid to be contrarian, to be argumentative, to debunk, to deny, to, counteract, to argue, to dismiss and diminish. And they really think there's some fucking power in that shit. Okay? And some of them are just so fucking obsessed with their, being a contrarian. Even if they got sick right now with this goddamn disease. Even if they got COVID-19. They motherfucking asses will be in denial. They sit up there and try to act like, oh, I just got a cold. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I ain't got no COVID-19. That coronavirus is fake. Everybody just walking around with a flu and a cold and shit. This is a government lie to keep y'all in control. But the good news is they are not the majority. The good news is there are actually intelligent and smart and trustworthy people among us who see that fucking bullshit a mile away and don't buy into it. And I just want to take this time to remind everyone that there are some of us within our community that have the gift of discernment. There are some of us who have the gift of spiritual discernment. There are some of us in our community that know how to divine on situations. I think y'all should start trusting people like that if you haven't before. Okay? Pay attention to what these folks are saying. Because I can speak for myself. And I promise you, spirits hit me to this bullshit last year. And I posted about it rather cryptically and somewhat vaguely on my social media, particularly on my Facebook. And I shared those posts yesterday on my Facebook. They didn't tell me there was a viral outbreak. All they told me was, some shit is about to hit the motherfucking fan and you better be ready. Okay? And so I shared that information. Okay? I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be a war, if someone was going to attack the United States. If the white supremacists were going to mobilize and, and start attacking everybody that wasn't white. I mean, I just didn't know. I just had a feeling that something wicked this way comes. Okay. When I was giving readings to people, especially toward the end of summer and during the fall, there were 3 readings that I can remember distinctively that had travel warnings suggested in those readings. And I let the client know, hey, listen, you might want to rethink your travel plans. Because a lot of folks like to leave the United States during winter, right? Or when it's cold here and go to warmer climates. But even during those readings, I still didn't know, okay, except in 1 or 2 cases where it looked like water travel. And what was impressed upon me is viral outbreak on cruise ships, because I'm familiar with that. It's happened. It's happened already. So my mind just went straight to that. And it's like, okay, if you plan on traveling by water, you might want to rethink that shit. And one of the clients was, in fact, someone that did do a lot of the cruise ship things. You know what I'm saying? So it resonated with her. But it wasn't until we started getting this news in December and January that it dawned on me, okay, this is what's happening. This is what all the flashing warning lights were. This is what it was about. This is what all the travel warnings were about that I was getting in my readings with my clients. Here we are. Okay. And I don't need to do divination to know that we are still approaching the peak right now in the United States as far as cases are concerned. Once we hit the peak, we'll plateau, and then there will be a decline in the number of new infected cases. And that's if and only if people are practicing social distancing. People are practicing hand washing. Okay. People are only, following the guidelines set forth. I mean, do we really want to believe that the government wants to kill everybody? How do you be the president of a superpower, but you don't have any citizens? You're like president of an empty fucking nation. I mean, yeah, we know he ain't shit, and I personally am of the thought that, he wants to help his good friends over in Russia take this country over. But my point still stands, even if the Russians or the Chinese or whoever the fuck takes America over, what point is it if everybody's going to die from a viral outbreak? Okay. So anyway, you guys, practice social distancing if you must be out and about. I know here in my city, we have a 5:00 curfew. And the only time that you can be out during the day is if you are an essential worker. That means you work for the fire department, you work for the police department, you are a medical doctor, you work in the healthcare field, or any other type of city job, right? You are allowed to go to grocery stores, drug stores, gas stations, and that's it, I think. Okay? That's it. You're only out if you need to be out. And then after 5, nobody gets to be out except for those essential workers. And so if people want to break the motherfucking rules, oh, fuck that curfew. Oh, fuck them rules. I'm going to Bay House. Oh, fuck that shit. I'm going to, if people just want to walk around and act like la-di-da, like them nasty ass kids down in Florida talking all that bullshit. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh my God, I'm just going to live my life as normal. I don't believe it. I think it's a lie. I think it's made up. Ew, I'm going to the bar. I'm going to get my drink on. Yeah. Because there's a lot of brothers and sisters who are right with Todd and Becky and them in that thinking. That's why the motherfuckers is going to jack your ass up. Okay? Come on. If there is an accident on your street and the police put the fucking yellow or red tape, they cordon off an area because it's a crime scene or suspected crime scene, right? Foul play or whatever the case may be. Whether they know what happened or not, they have to keep random motherfuckers out of the area so that the forensic specialists and the detectives can come in to get the clues that they need to solve the situation. So no, you can't just randomly walk your ass through a motherfucker, okay? Well, so your feet can just accidentally step on some shit and break it, or accidentally kick it out the view, you know? There's a reason why you cannot cross the tape, because they don't want you contaminating that potential crime scene or that active crime scene, okay? And guess what happens if you break the line? Guess what happens if you say, fuck y'all, I live across this motherfucker, I got to go home? What do you think is going to happen? You think you can just break the line and walk all through the evidence, you know, and think ain't nobody going to put hands on your ass and jack you up? It's the same shit. Why is it that people can understand you don't cross the motherfucking tape line, but when your governor says to you, stay your ass at home, wash your hands, be off the streets, but past 5 o'clock, stay in your ass at home. Why do people have such a fucking hard time following rules? Because let me tell you something, baby. You might not believe in this coronavirus, but it believes in you. And it thrives off your ignorance. Okay? One thing I am noticing, to keep it on a lighter note, is that Black people have come together in ways that we were already being primed to come together. Okay, for the past few years, we have been speaking life and affirmation into unity and community and to family. Okay, and yes, I am including the people who were talking about building kingdoms. Okay, even y'all. It's just a feeling that has been, impressed upon us by our ancestors. Yes. And now we're at this moment where we can actualize, and express that in very real ways. All right. So people are getting together and teaching one another. I did my own little contribution yesterday on Facebook where I offered to teach knitting, because I've had a few people say that they would love to learn. So I put some videos up and we are learning to knit. And I might go back and do some sewing for the folks that are interested in learning how to sew and learning how to quilt. Okay. And that's, contingent upon me getting my setup together in time and whatever. But there are people, teaching different skills. Okay. Cooking and baking, doing hair, braiding hair. There are people who are reading to children, helping with homework. There are people who are just, reading to anybody that's willing to listen. There are DJs who are serving up wonderful dance sets. Okay. Facebook, there are a few house music DJs from Chicago. I tuned into some of that. And then there's DJ Nice on Instagram. He was doing some stuff last night. I missed out on it because, I take my ass to bed early these days. But from what I hear, it was lit, and New Era Chicago, okay, Black community activist organization. They were out on the streets yesterday checking up on the elderly in our community, as well as single mothers who are at home and need maybe some support and assistance because they have kids and no support and no help. So they just did some, wellness checks around the community to make sure that our people were straight, to make sure that they understood what was going on, to make sure that they had everything that they needed. And if you are interested in donating to New Era Chicago with supplies such as paper goods, hand sanitizer, alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, whatever the case, just let me know and I'll make sure that you are linked up with the appropriate channels to donate those things, okay? Because things like non-perishable food supplies, paper supplies, hand sanitizer, even baby diapers, Pampers and things like that, latex gloves, anything that you may have on hand or have access to that you wouldn't mind donating, please donate, okay? And reach out to me and I will link you up with the proper channel for your donation. And in advance, I appreciate every single one of you that is donating time donating your skills, your gifts, teaching your hobbies to others, donating supplies, giving supplies, exchanging supplies, especially those of you who are our hoodoo root doctors. Man, I am here in pride and honor and celebration of each and every one of you. And on that note, there's been some news going around about elderberry, because elderberry syrup, is starting to make the rounds and be very popular as a powerful immune system booster, which it is, okay? However, it isn't good for treating this virus, okay? It's good for protecting you against, colds and germs and flus and viruses and whatever. But if you happen to be positive for COVID-19, you cannot take elderberry because it will incite something called a cytokine storm in your system, okay? And that's not good for your body, y'all, all right? And if you don't understand what that is, just go look it up. Go Google cytokine storm, CYTOKINE, storm, STORM. Go, read about that. Now, what I do know, and so far haven't seen any adverse effects or news about adverse effects, is taking olive leaf extract. Okay, it's a very well-known antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial. It also has some benefits for people who are dealing with hypertension and high cholesterol and diabetes. Now, I am not a doctor, all right, but this is an FYI for educational purposes. Google olive leaf extract and see what you can find pertaining to it, okay? I hope everybody is safe. I hope everybody is sound. I hope everybody is making good use of their time. Listen, it's spring where a lot of you are right now. Unfortunately, it's still sprinter in Chicago. That's spring who thinks it's still winter. Okay. But it is definitely time for spring cleaning. All right. Just go the extra mile. Wipe off your doorknobs, your sink handles, faucets. Wipe down your refrigerator handles, your microwave handles, just for extra precaution. Okay? Because anybody that's in your house can be carrying this shit. They might not have symptoms, but they can transmit the virus. Okay? We can have the virus and not be sick at all, y'all. All right? But if we're transmitting to, to children or elderly people or people who have immune compromised systems, that's not a good thing, y'all. Okay? So wipe everything down, keep everything clean. It's springtime. You might as well, get into your spring cleaning anyway. Okay? And make it fun. Okay? Make it fun for the children. Get them to help. Put a timer on and see, who can do a task before the timer goes off. Give them little prizes, whoever wins and things like that. This is not the time to be stressing out. This is not the time to be acting angry and frustrated, with your loved ones, your significant others, and your children. This is not the time for any of that fuck shit. Our ancestors need us to be good to one another. Our futures, our seeds need us to be good to one another. And that's what we're going to have to do. We don't have a choice but to be good and mindful and loving to one another. All right? So this is Mama Rue going back to my own little quarantine in my neck of the woods. And again, if you have any comments or questions, reach out to me. Okay? Email me at contact@mamarue.com. You can find me on Facebook with my government name, Mia Wilson. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram, where I'm Mama HH. And I have a blog on Tumblr. All right? Same name, Mama Rue. And, of course, my YouTube channel, where you can find me on YouTube as Mama Rue. You can also find this podcast on iTunes, you guys. Yeah. It's been added to iTunes. It was actually added a little while ago, and I keep forgetting to talk about it. But go leave me a comment, a review, star rating, or whatever, because it's reviews and star ratings that help people actually find this podcast. All right, so I'd appreciate it if you go over there and do that. All right. And I'm going to love you and leave you. But as always, I'm wishing you love, peace, and powerful juju. All right. Special shout out to the tribe of Hoodoo. Peace and love, everybody.